Hi, Pilot OCRs, and welcome to episode 6. This should be our last episode for now, so this is going to be all about quizzes today. And with that said, we're going to jump right into it. And I'm going to start in a pathway course, actually. So that's why this looks a little different, but don't let the color throw you off. All the menus and everything are still the same. So I'm going to start in the quizzes tool itself. And a couple things for you to notice. This quizzes tool in this course, they've put these into categories. So notice that these are all separated nicely, lessons 1 through 14. If your course has a lot of quizzes, this is one quick, easy fix that you can submit and just request that all of your quizzes be organized into lesson categories. There is another way to view this, and that's by availability. And if availability is turned on, you'll get this default current quizzes, and then there'll be future quizzes, and then there will be past quizzes. So both are nice views depending on what you're trying to do. I prefer this category view, so I'm going to stick there. So one of the first things we want you to look for in your course is are the computer graded quizzes auto-exporting to the gradebook? And this is a really easy thing for us to take a look at. So I'm going to find a quick little computer graded test. So that's this one. And if I go to edit, I can see in here, first of all, that all these are multiple selection, multiple choice, potentially even some true-false questions, right? So those are the only kinds of questions that we can auto-grade. So we want to see on the assessment side, if that's the case, what's happening. So on the auto-graded computer-graded quizzes, we want both of these boxes checked. So allow attempt to be set as graded and allow automatic export to grades. With both of those selected, then when the students finish, they will automatically get their grade in the grade book upon completion. So that's a really important thing to look for. Now, we know we have some quizzes that aren't computer graded. In fact, let me see if I can get back there. We know we need to have like some teacher input here. So I know this Teach a Friend activity. If I go to edit that one, if I go back over here to properties, I'll see that these are probably short answer, long answer. So that's what the LA stands for. If I go over to assessment, I want to make sure that those boxes are unchecked now. And any quiz that you have that has a mix, you want to have these unchecked. What happens is if they're checked, it'll computer grade the computer graded questions and mark everything else as a 0. So that the instructor graded portions are marked as 0 until the instructor grades them. So your students would get much lower grades with the automatic export. And then once you as the teacher go back in after the fact and change what they've actually gotten on that short answer, then their grade will come up. And that seems to be really a bad experience for students. So anything that involves instructor input, these are unchecked. Automatic, these both should be checked. So I hope that clears that up as best I can. Let's see. Next item we have on here is, can students see what the instructors or designers intended the student to view upon completion? And to do that, we want to go over here to the submission views. And the submission views shows us when can students see and what will they see. Will they show all questions with user responses? Will they show question answers? Yes. Will they show any statistics? None. And so I can see what the students are seeing, and that's a really good thing for me to look at. So if I go back over here to that auto-graded quiz, and I go to edit, and I go over to submission views, I should see this slightly different here. So now I see that they see this immediately. It's going to show all questions with a user response, but they won't see answers. But look at this one. This one also has a secondary view that after a certain date, they're going to see more. They're going to show all questions with user responses, and they will see the answers. So that's a really nice feature of Brightspace, is we can define what they see as a student and when they see it. And we can really lock that down so we can try to keep and prevent cheating. Now, I will say this one thing. There are some people here in the home office that are very cautious that instructors don't play with the submission views on their own, because it can open up the quiz for students to see all the answers, and they could potentially put those on cheating websites, and we want to be sure we're staying away from those problems. Okay. The quiz attempt number is something else we want you to check for. And so if you go in here to the settings here, I got to remember where it's at. Restrictions probably. I can see how many. Is there a time limit? Is there any kind of special access that we need? What's the availability? So I can see it has a start date and an end date. We also need to talk about this. Start date means they can't start the quiz before, and end date means they can't take it after this date. Notice there is no due date inside this tool. You can put a due date on the content page, but we can't put a due date on this particular item. And then the other thing I want to point out is you can choose to put this in the calendar or not. I would not put a start date on the calendar, but I definitely would include the due date on a calendar. And unfortunately, you can't decide. It's all or nothing on the calendar thing. So just be aware of that happening. Let's see. Try to remember some of the other things we had here. So here's the attempts. This is under assessment. I was going to talk to you about this. So how many tries do they get? This one gets 2. And then how do you calculate those attempts? Do you average all of them, or what do you want? So make sure that these settings are set up the way that you would like to have them set up as the OCR. Then one thing that we can do, if we go over to properties, you can check on any of these questions. So here's all your questions. You can click on the question to get a preview of the question, and you can even see what the right answer is supposed to be. So when grading the question, it would appear as this. And so there's a nice way to get a preview of any of these questions so that you can see what's happening inside the quiz. So I think that should be just about everything you need to know to make sure that they're grading correctly, that they're set up correctly. There's a lot of settings in quizzes. Do the best you can to peruse through this information on as many of the quizzes as you can so that you can make sure that your quizzes are functioning properly. And that's about it. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks. Let me know if you have any other questions about quizzes.